Welcome to Eventful Endeavors, secrets to crafting the perfect celebration. If you're planning an event and looking for useful tips from industry experts, you're in the right place. So get ready to take some notes and we'll dive right in. This is Eventful Endeavors.
Hello, welcome everyone to another episode of Eventful Endeavors. My name is Austin. I am joined here today with two juggernauts of the wedding industry here in Kansas City, the owner of Hitched Planning and Design, Brianna Lopez, and Lisa Forbes, Senior Coordinator. How are you two doing today?
Fabulous.
Doing great.
I am very blessed to not only have worked a bunch of your events, obviously, but we're dear friends. So this is just going to be a lot of fun today. But my first question, and I was thinking about this earlier, and this is going to be really stupid, and I'm sorry, because I was thinking it was going to be really smart with this. Is there any relation to the hit 2005 film Hitch?
You mean why the company is named that?
Yes.
Oh my God, I wish. I wish.
I wish too. I wish that Will Smith and I were cool bros and that's why. Well, so I didn't name the company. I bought the company after it was already named. So Jessica Corbett, who now works at Good Earth, this was her baby. She created it and she named it, and she has a bluegrass kind of country girl wearing her cowboy boots, rocking that vibe. And so I think Hitch was kind of that background whenever she named it, which I love. I think it's such a cute name. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if she
Her and Will Smith go way back, I'm
gonna say, what a story that would be if she was I'm, Will Smith fan all the way.
Behind the curtain, yeah, that's
that girl knows everyone, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Hey, that is it very well could be, but yeah, sorry, I had to be smart with that one
No,
earlier.
that's a good one. That's a really good one. No, I love it.
But yeah, so okay, so I didn't know that you bought the company that was already so kind of tell me. Yeah, kind of go a little bit more in depth on that and just tell me your journey into Hitched and how you've got to where you are now.
This is important to the story of kind of how I function in life. I went to an all-women's college and I studied theater there, and I went to a conservatory, and they were very, very specific about, they beat it into our heads that when you go to a new place, you reach out to everyone that you know, love, and trust, and you really work your network. You meet with people that you don't even necessarily think that they would be able to help you in some way, because you never know. It's always good to connect with people because you might be able to help them. But anyway, so my husband and I were moving back from the East Coast. We were in the restaurant industry and we had just gotten married. We wanted to start a family, so we decided to move to the Midwest. And when we moved back, I knew I wanted to be in the service industry in some way, because that's what I loved about the restaurant industry, is working with the people. And I had all of my regulars who I just adored, and I knew everyone in the community. And so I didn't want to work, 65 hours a week, every night and every weekend. But so I really just started to work my network. I started reaching out to everyone that I knew in Kansas City, a lot of girls that I went to college with. And one of my best friends' sister-in-law worked at Hitched. And so I really wasn't even kind of looking at the wedding industry, but I was like, that's interesting. So I reached out to her via this kind of person that knew the person that knew the person. And I was so annoying. I truly didn't leave Jessica alone. She said I was so intense, and she's like, well, if she really, really wants to work for me this bad, I guess I'll just give her some hours. Because I was constantly reaching out to her. And then honestly, I fell in love with the wedding industry after the fact. It was kind of I stumbled into it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. This is really a passion for me. I didn't realize it would be. So I worked at Hitched for 4.5 years. And then after COVID, I was looking to make moves and change some things up. And I knew she was doing something. I didn't know exactly what she was doing, but I called her one day and was like, listen, I don't know what you're doing, but if you're trying to sell the company, I would love to throw my hat in the ring. You should just sell it to me.
Right.
And she was like, I hadn't even thought of that. She had like other people that she was talking to. And then, it just kind of worked out. And then here we are all these years later.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
It's a really, really cool story. What part of the East, just personal?
So I moved to Manhattan, New York City.
Okay.
And that sucked. I moved up there thinking that I was going to be Carrie Bradshaw and live in like a gorgeous, like upper midtown apartment for no money.
As one does, yeah.
As one does, as Sex and the City promises you. And I got out there and I was like, where am I? What a culture shock. And then after 4 months, I moved out of Manhattan into Jersey City, just right across the Hudson. And I liked Jersey so much more. And so then I stayed in Jersey City for the amount of time I was there. And that's where I met my husband.
Okay. Lovely. So Lisa, then, when did you get involved with Hitched?
Yeah, so this is the fun, another fun part of the story, I should say. It's all fun. So I've been in the wedding industry since 2007, for a long time, and had worked in various different different components in the wedding industry. I was a venue manager. I worked in the catering area. And then I eventually, when I started my family, decided that the hours were just too crazy. And I was working, 60 to 80 hours a week, never home with my little ones, that kind of thing. And so I decided that I wanted to branch out and become a wedding planner. And so I did that with different various companies. And a little over a year ago, I was kind of in that position where I just wasn't doing enough weddings. I knew that I wanted more, and just didn't have enough reach at that point. And so it's kind of a crazy story. So I was at home, I was getting ready to make dinner, and I accidentally sliced open my finger, and I could not get the blood to stop. Like, I'm just like bleeding out. Like, I still need to finish dinner.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Googling, when do I need to go to the emergency room? Like all this kind of stuff.
How much blood
and I Googled it. What's that?
I said, how much blood is too much blood?
Right. I'm like, I don't know, like, I'm not feeling faint yet, but I'm kind of like, when do I need to, make a change here? And so the Google said, make sure you're elevating, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm ready to work. I'm done with dinner or whatever. And my hand is like up in the air. And I'm like, well, I can't work. I can't type. I'm trying to get this blood to stop. I'm going to just like scroll on Instagram for a minute. And I open up Instagram, and the second post that I saw was Brienne's post saying that she needed experienced wedding planners and she needed to hire immediately. So I'm like, all right, well, I don't know this person. Like, I know Hitched because I knew Jessica really, really well. But I had no idea who Brie was. And I, I'll just kind of reach out to her and see what she says. So I put my resume together and I sent it over to her. And like 25 minutes later, she's like, can I interview you in 30 minutes? And I'm like, sure, why not? And then Brie was over there talking to other people in the wedding industry about me. I'll let you tell that, Brie.
It was kind of an interesting time in the business for Hitch, just in general. There was some things going on. We had let go of some people, and we were trying to hire some people pretty quickly. And so I was on the phone with Bridget Shin from Brownston Blush and got her message, like, I would love to, here's my resume. I had also never heard of Lisa, because a lot of times planners, you're not necessarily interacting with other planners. And so
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this lady, Lisa Forbes, just emailed me. And Bridget was like, hang up the phone and call her and hire her immediately. I was like, oh, is she? She's like, everyone knows her. Everyone's obsessed with her. She's been in business forever. She's like, she's like, I cannot believe she emailed you. Like, that's crazy. This is like a big whale, Brian. You got to reel that whale in. Like, this is like a big deal. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And so, yeah, I got on the phone, and truly it was like, it was love at first sight. Like, we met virtually, and by the end of the phone call, we were both crying. Like, it was just a love connection, and yeah.
But yeah,
obviously
my
have.
next question was gonna be like, what we're because I've seen how you two interact, and it's so infectious. I love it. I mean, I've got to work with you in your house when we got to practice
Mhm.
for the benefit. I got to see you guys interact at the benefit, all sorts of things. But yeah, I was going to kind of ask what first impressions were, and just like, and you kind of mentioned that friendship was just kind of immediately there.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
I think Brie and I complement each other in such a unique way. You know, we've both been in work situations with people that let us down. And so I think like to be able to bond as quickly as we did and like just have this immediate connection, you know, and I know people say this all the time about relationships, but like I feel like I've known Brie for over a decade, and I've literally known her for not even a year and a half yet. And I think you could even speak to that, Austin. Like we don't act like we've only known each other for a little over a year. We act like we
I would have
other.
thought you two were related. I mean, honestly, like, it's just the banter, everything. It's fun to work with, and it creates a really inviting atmosphere for other vendors, and I'm sure your clients too. I mean, I can only imagine. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. Gotta love that.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny, like our unique trauma really complements each other. Like work trauma that we have, it's almost like things that I would like that have not been maybe there for me in the past work wise, like she just effortlessly brings to the table. And then vice versa, things that maybe like she needs more of. Like that is just naturally who I am as a person. And so we do kind of like just complete each other in a lot of ways. And for me, it's like working with Lisa is, I say this all the time, I'm like, she's such a grown up. Do you know what I mean? Because even grown-ups in the workplace do not always act like grown-ups, but she's like the way that she handles herself in the company and in the community, she has such a beautiful professionalism about her. She has loyalty as well, but also just like etiquette. And I mean, Lisa's very revered, honestly, in this community. And so I just always feel lucky. I told her at the benefit, I was talking to my mom and I was like, I genuinely, like in the last year and a half, I've never once been annoyed by Lisa. I've never once been like, I don't know why she does things this way, or like, that wouldn't be the choice I would have made, or like, that's frustrating. I've never thought that. I think that's really rare in a work situation to where it's just kind of effortless.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it easier for sure. I mean, on the music side of things, I mean that kind of coincides. Like when you get to show up and play shows of people that are your friends, and I know every little movements thing that they're going to do, which tells me exactly what I'm going to do. It just makes the night easy,
Mm-hmm.
and it creates a really good flow. But yeah, one of the questions that I really like to ask, that I've been asking all the planners that I have interviewed, is tell me about. We always hear about the highlights. We hear about all the crazy, amazing things that we get to do pretty much on a regular basis. But the lowlights are some of the things that, as vendors, we're behind the scenes. We get to see a few of the things that can happen sometimes, but they stay kind of on the DL. But as planners, you know about everything that happens at events. So you don't have to do any like specific call outs or anything like that. It's sensitive information, but tell me about a situation, if you had them, and it's okay if you haven't, of a wedding where something, like it was disaster doomsday, everything was fine, like you got it covered, but it was behind the scenes. And maybe they didn't even know about it. Have you had anything like that?
Lisa, do you want to?
How much time do you have?
Yeah.
Okay, no, let me get a glass of wine real quick, and then we can,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's make some cocktails. Do you want to go first, Lisa?
No, you go ahead.
Well, gosh, I'm trying to think. There was a wedding that recently happened, and it was during the like snowpocalypse ice storm that we had. And so it was just weather related, unfortunately. It was just like a crazy ice storm. And we had a guest come in while they were walking in, fell and cracked their head open and had to go immediately into the bathroom. Thank goodness it was like a bunch of like doctors who were at the wedding. So literally a trauma surgeon
Yeah.
was with her in the bathroom. She had like a full concussion. And during the ceremony, the way the venue was set up, during the ceremony, they had to call 911 because she had to go to the hospital.
It was during the ceremony. Oh my gosh.
It was during the ceremony. Like, we were waiting to start, and then the couple was like, let's just start. Like, they were kind of over it, honestly, because it was like half the people didn't show up because of the ice storm. I mean, it was really kind of a bummer. But so it just worked out to where the ER or the ambulance was like wheeling in the gurney as Father Story had everyone like bow their heads to pray. So I don't think anyone saw the gurney being rolled in, and then
Yeah.
like when it was being rolled out, they were also like doing something like a prayer or something. So I think kind of like miraculously, don't really think anyone saw the human being rolled out really close to the ceremony moment. And it's not like one of those things where usually as a planner I could be like, just hold please. We're gonna get through this and then you can go. Like, she needed to go to the ER. Like, I couldn't stop them. So
Right.
that was kind of a bummer.
That
That was
yeah.
wild. A tough one. I mean, the day was still, we made the best out of it, and they still partied and they still had a really great time. But I've never had anybody like actively like going out on like an ER stretcher like mid ceremony before.
We've
Neither have I,
had
knock on wood.
yeah. We've had a couple where they've had to call EMS and or something. It's like they had a little too much at the open bar, or,
Sure.
something, and there's always something. It just
I think it always happens like earlier, like than what you would think, because like the
Yeah.
later stuff when people have been drinking, like you kind of like we kind of know how to handle all that kind of stuff. But I
Right.
mean, we had to call the EMS one time because it was a Jewish wedding and the groom stomped on the glass. And as we're walking into because we were in a hotel ballroom, and so as we're walking into the other hotel room, the ballroom, he's like limping. And he goes to like pull his shoe off, and like literally there was like an inch of blood in the bottom of his shoe because the glass had gone like through the side of his shoe, and just like it was like a 2-inch cut in his foot. And like now, like, I'm not trying anything, but again, like we're at a Jewish wedding. Like, is there a doctor in the house? Yeah, there's like 50 doctors in the house.
Yeah.
But we had to call the paramedics anyway just to make sure he was okay. And they ended up just like somebody went to Walgreens and bought liquid stitch, which I now have in my emergency kit. Bought liquid stitch and just liquid stitched it, and he went and partied the rest of the night. It's crazy.
It's insane. Gosh. Yeah, I mean, the party has to go on, I guess, that's just the show must go on. That's just
The show must go on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so many different things, like little things that happen over the years. Like the rentals aren't right, and you've got to like call and get them there and get everything set and prepped before. And like that kind of stuff, I would even say is more like typical. Like you plan for those things to happen as planners, and you just know that you'll like fix it and make it work and it'll be fine, and the client never knows. And we always just allot ourselves way more time than we actually need for setup. So when stuff like that happens, it's really not a big deal. We have time to fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So next question, you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, Brienne, but so and this is for both of you, you can answer in whatever order you want to, but if you weren't wedding planners, what would you want to be?
There's nothing else.
Nothing
else? I really truly believe that I was put on this earth to do this job. Like, I really believe that. I have a passion for it. It was funny. I went back and looked at my college thesis like a million years, I mean, forever ago. Like, I found it in like a box of my mom's stuff, and I totally forgotten that. But like, I did it. I guess it wasn't a thesis. It was like my final senior project or whatever. And I actually did it on opening my own event planning business. That was years before I was in the event planning world. Like I had my degrees in clothing, textiles, and merchandising. I worked as a visual merchandising manager for different retail stores. Like, so I thought that's where my life was going to go. But I think even back in college when I was doing that, I must have had just some sort of, inkling that this was what I was going to eventually do. I don't know that I necessarily knew it was going to be weddings. I think back then I thought I was going to be a fashion show like producer.
Right.
But then I realized I was going to have to move to New York, and I did not want to move to New York. And so I kind of looked into getting my first event planning job. And it was at it was at Incredible, which is awful to say out loud. I don't know if you guys know Incredible, but it's not even there anymore.
Not
But
incredible.
they did like small weddings and events and things like that. And that's kind of how I got my start. And then once I started doing the weddings
Mhm.
from the event planning side, that's when I realized that I actually had a passion for weddings themselves. And Brie even knows this. Like she'll try to give me other events like, hey, do you want to do this? Non for profit. No, I do not. I want to do weddings and weddings only. The benefit is the only exception to that rule. Other than that, I am strictly a wedding girl.
Yeah.
I
Bree,
love
what
that
about you?
answer. I love that answer, Lisa. Non-for-profit work. And I really do. It's not that I don't love weddings. I do love weddings. And what I love most about weddings, I think it's a little different than Lisa. Like the wedding part, I love, but it's not, I wouldn't say that's my passion. Like working with the client is my passion. Being of service to others like really fills my cup up. And so it's not necessarily like wedding trends or like, again, like I like all of that stuff. I really love design, but like the thing that like really gets me going, that like makes my heart beat, is the just being of service to others and helping someone through a journey that feels arduous at times, and being their kind of support human. Like I love that. There's nothing that makes me feel better than having a client tell me like they just want me close because I make them feel calm, or I make them feel like everything is good. Like that is so special to me. And so I would love to always do some weddings, but I would also love to do more non-for-profit work and just help organizations that are really giving back to the community in like a really special way. That's why we started Hitched Helping Hands. And yeah, like it's exhausting work, but it's for me so fulfilling.
Yeah, and that's kind of what was going to be my segue into Hitch Helping Hands. I'm really glad you brought that up. That is something that is really cool, that at least I've discovered in the short career that I've had in the wedding industry, is just it's an opportunity to kind of just give back a little bit. And weddings are such, every single one is unique. Every single one, it has its own like individuality. It's its own unique experience. But something that is just truly inspiring, and something that I've very been blessed to be a part of, is Hitched Helping Hands. And yeah, I don't want to talk anymore on it. I just want you to give me the whole spiel. I need people to be inspired by this as it has inspired me. But yeah, how'd you get started with Hitched Helping Hands? Kind of tell us what it is, and yeah.
I'll start and then I'll let you take over, Lisa. So, Lisa and I had literally, like, she had been working with Hitched for like a month, not even.
Not even.
And we had just gone to some big events in the community, and I just had this feeling like we're going to these big events, but like, what are they for? Who are they for? Like, who are we lifting up? I just felt like something was missing, and I was feeling really badly. Like again, like I truly think like the best way to feel really great about yourself or just as a human in general is to be of service to others. Like that feels so good, and I think everyone in the world should do that. So I literally called Lisa and I was like, we gotta do something. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Like, like, can we start something, or like, can we do our own event? And can it be like giving back? Can we be like focusing on others and not ourselves? Like, not like, how are we making more money, or how are we growing, or how are we, like, can we just focus on somebody else besides ourselves? And I don't know what that means, but I want to do that. And again, it's like one of those kind of kismet things that I feel so strongly with Lisa. Lisa said,
Have you ever heard of Wish Upon a Wedding? And she said, no, what's that? And I told her about it. And I had only learned about it like a few months prior. And Wish Upon a Wedding, for anyone who doesn't know, is an organization that's a national organization that does weddings and vow renewals for people who've been diagnosed with life-altering or terminal diagnosis. And I explained all of that to Brie, and she was like, yes. She was like, how do we get involved? And I was like, well, I happen to know the director. Her name is Lacey, and I could get us in touch with her and see if maybe we could do something. And Bree goes, I think we should do a benefit. Like, I've never heard of this organization. Let's do a fundraiser. Let's raise awareness and do a fundraiser and see if we can partner with them and see what this looks like. And I was like, okay. And literally within 5 days, Bree had an entire board set up. And we didn't really have Hitched Helping Hands yet, but we had the start of an idea within a week of mentioning Wish Upon a Wedding. And then we just kind of started doing our research and learning about how to do a fundraiser. We knew how to plan an event. That was not a problem for us.
Right. Yeah.
But the partially,
fundraiser, totally
yeah,
beast though.
yeah. I mean, we
Which,
didn't know
let me
anything.
say, that benefit was like, I mean, one, Grand Hall, Power and Light, shout out, beautiful venue in Kansas City. I mean, just like all the praises. You guys knocked that out of the water. I mean, it was beautiful. Every start to finish, it was so much fun. It was like, I can't even start with Matt and Chrissy's story. Everything is just, it was start to finish beautiful. But sorry to interrupt. Please
Thank
continue.
you. No, thank you. No, and I'll let Bree kind of go back into, but yeah, we immediately kind of started looking. We got connected with Wish. We started looking for people that we could grant a wish for, and we were able to start with Jenny and Nick. They
Yeah.
were our first wish recipients. We did their wish last June 2024. And that was such a beautiful experience because I also know Jenny personally, and so to be a part of that story and that journey, and for that to be the wish that kind of kicked us off was just a real blessing. I mean, it was just such a beautiful moment to really be able to firsthand witness what Wish can do for the life of someone who has cancer, but also their family and their friends and that sort of thing. And then we went into our next benefit, or our first benefit, which was at the Guild and was beautiful. And then after that, then we got to work with Chrissy and Matt. And I'll let Bree kind of take over from there.
When, I mean, for me, like when I get an idea or like something is exciting for me, like I'm all in. I'm like a little manic with it, you could even say. Like I get a little crazy. And so truly we had like no idea what we were doing. I mean, we were just kind of, and again, it goes back to that, like my training from college. We just started reaching out to people. We met with Beth Chapelo with Chapelo Events, and she hyper focuses on non-for-profit, and she kind of works on non-for-profit and corporate events. She used to do weddings, and so we immediately reached out to her and we were like, can we just like ask you questions? Like we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And she was the one that was like, you need to change your name. You need a bit different name. You need to have a name that talks, that, is almost like an onomatopoeia, like it is what you're doing. So then that's when we developed Hitched Helping Hands. And she gave us so many pointers, like all the props to Beth. Like she really told us what we were doing because we were like, we don't know. But we were just going guns blazing. And we had a really incredible group of human beings that were also like, I don't know what we're doing, but I'm so down to just do it with you. And if we didn't have the board, we couldn't do these benefits. Like there's just no way. It's such a giant amount of work. And so having all of those other people that were passionate about it as well was huge. And then when we got Jenny and Nick, like Lisa was saying, I mean, you were there. We were all sobbing that first wish. And I even saw Jenny came to the benefit that we just had at the Grand Hall, and she hugged me and she said, you're an angel and you're doing God's work. And it's like, at a wedding, like, yes, that's a really important, special time for somebody, but like, when someone doesn't have very long to live and they're like, you're an angel, what you granted me and my family is something that they'll have for the rest of their lives, even if I'm not here. It's just like, how do you even quantify what that means, to a community, to yourself, to them? It's hard to kind of express that, but it's like that makes it all worth it. Gosh, I mean, even that Jenny is still here and she can still come to the benefit, and I hope she can come for so many years, but it's like working with these people that are going through these crazy hard times, and even just to raise money for Wish in general, to know that like if we're not doing it here, there are wish shows all over the country that people are getting to experience this like beautiful gift. And it's just, it's fuel. It is such fuel. Because a lot of times, like, at least I'll be like, oh my gosh, this is the most work. It's so hard. It really is so hard to, like, put on these benefits. But you're reminded so quickly why you do it. And special, man, it's just so special. And I'm so grateful.
Yeah, it's absolutely something that, it's not even something, it's the most rewarding, I think, both of those events, just thing in music that I have ever done personally. It collectively was 2 hours of my, but it is just such a, you talk about just ways to give back, and like that is it. That is the most fulfilling and just heartwarming, just way to do it. But yeah, you guys knocked it out of the park. It was so much fun. I did want to make mention. I'm gonna call you out a little bit, Bria. The rehearsal that we had at the house was a lot of fun. I showed up to high heels and a tutu, and it was I would have guessed that if you said that not a wedding planner, that it would have been like a dancer or a singer or something. My mind was just immediately there. Yeah, you got the spirit for it for sure.
That was, oh gosh, that was so much of my life for so many years, the musical theater performing. And I definitely still have heart for it, but I think when it became a career, it took all the joy out of it.
Uh-huh.
But I'll tell you what, y'all, like it's like I want to do it and I like doing it, but like while I'm doing it or right before I'm doing it, like the song at the benefit, I mean, I thought I was going to pass out. I mean, I was so thought I was going to have a heart attack. I mean, I was so nervous, and like my mom was like, watch the video, and I'm like, absolutely not. I don't want to
If it makes
see
you
it.
feel any better, I can't tell
It
you
was so great.
hundreds of shows that I've done at this point, and still to this day, before the downbeat of anything, I forget every song that I've ever learned. I forget every note that I've ever learned how to play, and I am just in an absolute just manic state. And then it starts, I'm like, oh, it's whatever. It's easy.
It's fine. No, it's like once you get going, it's like, okay, I think you can do this. But
Yeah.
like my mom was like, I didn't even know you had started the song because it kind of came out of nowhere. And I was like, that's so good, because for the first two measures, I was in the wrong key. I couldn't hear it. And so then by the third measure, I was like, I was in the right key. I had switched it, but I was like, thank God nobody knew I was singing, because I was singing
Nailed it.
off key.
You nailed it. You nailed it. Everyone loved it. Everyone was talking about how great you were. And everyone was saying, like, I had no idea she could do that. And I didn't know. I didn't know until the day, Austin, that you came over. I had no idea. No clue.
I was just as shocked. The whole band was spoofing you up. So we still talk about it. And we'll probably talk about it tonight. So yeah.
I would imagine that when somebody comes to you as like a band member and they're like, hey, I really want to do this song, like there's a little bit of cringiness in you. Like, oh, okay, great. That's just going to be amazing. And then Brie actually is like amazing. And it's like, well, this is great. Let's do this.
It was every level of cute and professional and fun, and exactly what it needed to be. To where there was no cringe. I never had a doubt. It was we opened up that door and I knew exactly what I was getting into, and it was a great day, and it turned into a great moment at the benefit.
And now, next year when you go, hey, I'm going to do a performance, I'm going to be like, yeah, let's do it. Whereas before it was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Let's see what's going to happen here.
We're going to put you up on one of the boxes. You'll be just right up with the bands and everything. Yeah, we'll have a whole showcase moment for you ready.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I'm ready for it, and I'm also not ready for it. I'm like, you're gonna do this again? Help! But I'm gonna do it. I think I'm such a weirdo. Like, I like to put myself in really uncomfortable situations and be like, figure it out, Brienne. You got this.
It prepares you. It prepares you for the next moment. It just builds little layers of confidence. That's all it's about. Yeah. Well, I want to thank both of you for being on today. I love both of you dearly.
Oh, love you so much. I love you.
But yeah, everybody, please check out hitchedandcasey.com. Hitched Helping Hands, Wish Upon a Wedding, everything that we mentioned today, all three beautiful, beautiful, beautiful organizations and companies. Yeah, we'll talk soon. I hope we can do this again. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you for having
you so
us.
much.
So much for having us.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Eventful Endeavors, Secrets to Crafting the Perfect Celebration. We hope to have left you with some actionable ideas for your own event. If you like the show, please subscribe and definitely leave us a review. We read every comment. So until next time, happy planning and see you soon on Eventful Endeavors.